Hi guys, welcome back. So this is the 8th video in this series where I'm using the R programming language to conduct data science tasks and data analysis. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about in this video is the pipe operator, and this is a very useful little piece of syntax that you can use in R. And it provides a kind of grammatically more intuitive way to wrangle and manipulate data. And we combine it with some of the functions we've already covered, such as select and filter, that are covered in the previous video. There are a lot more functions of that nature that come with the tidyverse and that we would want to use to get our data in the sort of condition that we'd need it in for whatever analysis we were doing. I'll cover more of those in forthcoming videos. But I was unsure about when to introduce the pipe operator. So far we've not used it. We've kind of just used the traditional syntax where when we specify a function, the first argument we pass to it is the data frame, and then any other information that we might need, such as which variables from that data frame we're interested in. But the pipe operator it allows us to, if I scroll down on my script, that might be a bit more useful. There we go. It allows us to manipulate our data in a kind of more intuitively easy to understand way, and it follows this structure of we could say it's like subject, verb, object, or data frame, action or function to be performed, and then variable to perform that on. And there are a couple of ways to implement the pipe in R. There's a native R pipe operator that you can implement, which is like, if I highlight it here, it's this kind of vertical bar, the kind of conditional bar, or often referred to as pipe, and then the greater than sign. So that is the native implementation of it. I don't really use that, but it's more common to see the tidyverse version, which is this one below here. It's like a %, then a greater than sign, and then a % sign. Okay, and there's a keyboard shortcut for that. So you could type that out. You could type %, greater than %, and they'll work it, give you your pipe operator. But the keyboard shortcut to get that little bit of syntax, that kind of built-in functional method, if you do Control, Shift, and N together, that will produce the pipe for you. It won't work if I try to do that now. Let me do that. Control, Shift, M. I'm pressing that on my keyboard. It's not doing anything. The reason is it's not printing that out, and the reason is I haven't yet imported the tidyverse. Okay, so let's see some examples of this, how you use the pipe operator. What I'll do is, first of all, I'll load the tidyverse. So I've just run that command library tidyverse. We've seen this in a couple of videos so far. It's executed below. If we look at the command line below, it's still thinking about it. It's still processing that command at the moment. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee whilst it does that. And what it should do is load the different packages that make up the tidyverse: dplyr, reader, string, tibble, tidyr, ggplot2, and then it's going to show us the conflicts and where it's had to mask a particular function because it has the same name in more than one package. And you see what we're seeing here is it's giving us priority to the filter from the dplyr package. Okay, and it's telling us if we wanted to use filter from the stats package, the syntax that we could use to do that. To make it explicit, we were referring to filter from the stats package, not from dplyr. Okay, so I'm going to work with the diamonds data set. I think I used that in the last video where we talked about selecting and filtering. Let me just run this command there. I'll do view on the diamonds data set, and we can have a look at what that looks like. It's going to pop up here next to our script in a new window, and you can see it's like it's a big data set. It's got 53,940 entries or observations or records for diamonds, and 10 total columns. So it's got 10 variables where they've recorded different things about about diamonds essentially, but it's got a mix of character and numeric variables, which is useful. Okay, so it's a built-in data set. I haven't imported that, as we've talked about in previous weeks. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a new data frame object, and I'm going to call that new df. So I'm using the assignment operator here, and I'm basically saying all the commands on the right of the assignment operator are going to be saved as a new object called new df, new data frame. Not very original name, but kind of easy enough for me to work with. And what I'm saying here is on the right of the assignment operator, I'm saying diamonds. So take the diamonds data set, and then I've got my pipe operator, and then I've got select, and in parentheses here I've got minus price. So what I'm doing here to make it explicit is I'm saying take the diamonds data set and then select. So remember, that's a way to that select is a function that allows you to select columns or variables from a data set. And then I'm saying minus price. Okay, so this is a bit of syntax I've not used in a previous video, but it's kind of useful to know. Rather than typing out separated by commas each of the variables I wanted, what I'm saying here is imagine. I want every variable from that diamonds data set, but I don't want the price variable. So I want the other nine columns, but not price. A way for me to do that is just to specify minus price. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're taking the diamonds data set and then we're selecting everything, every column apart from price, and we're saving it as a new object called new df. Let me highlight that, and then I'm going to do Control and Enter to run that. And what you can see here is it's executed. You can see below in the command line, but in our environment we've now got this new Tibble type of data frame, new object, new df. It tells us we've got 53,940 observations. That's how we knew that it was a big data set from 9 variables. So if you remember when we looked at diamonds originally, 10 columns, so the data set contains 10 variables. We've now got 9 because we've selected all of them apart from price. So if you look there, you can see this is our new, I just ran the view command on our new df data frame. You can see the price is no longer featured. It was there. It's no longer featured on that data frame. Okay, I'm going to close that one out. We'll leave price as it is. Let's go back to our script. Okay, so that was filtering. That was using the pipe to just filter using one function, one command. But you can also filter by multiple variables. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's run a different one. I'm going to create a new data frame object, and I'm going to select certain things from the diamonds data set. So what I'm doing is I'm specifying the data frame that I want diamonds, and then I'm going to select price and cut. So I'm going to just select those 2 columns, those 2 variables, and then I'm saying filter cut based on good. Okay, so if you remember, cut had these, if we look at our diamonds data frame, cut has these different character descriptions, whether the diamond's ideal, premium, good, very good. And what I'm saying here is in this command, the only variables I'm interested in are price and cut. And then from those 2 variables, I only want to look at the ones that have a cut of good. Okay, so this will be a much reduced data frame. Let me highlight this and run the command, and you can see df2, data frame 2, it's now saved here in our environment. You can see we've got this new object, 4,900 observations of 2 variables. Okay, let's view that data frame and see what it looks like. And you can see there, all of these 4,000 entries will have a cut that is exactly equal to good, and you can see the price for different ones. Okay, let me close that out. Something to note here is when you do select, if you select relates to the columns, so we're saying select only these columns and then filter just these rows out. So just, then filter by row and just select these rows essentially. If I had not put cut here, but had tried and had then tried to filter based on cut, it would have kicked up some sort of error, because the only thing that would have been left in our data frame would have been the variable price, and it would have, so it wouldn't have recognized what cut was, and I wanted to filter based on that. Okay, so we can change the order that we run these pipes, and we could then, so we've done columns and then selected rows, but we could do that differently. So let's look at this other example here. So df3, I'm going to create a new object. I'm going to take the diamonds data set, and then I'm going to filter and select only the rows where the cut is exactly equal to ideal. So I'm keeping the first command, I'm keeping all my variables, all my columns, but I'm just selecting the rows that are where the cut is ideal. So it'll be a smaller data set. And then what I'm telling it to do is select only the columns price, carat, and color. Okay, so let's run this, and what we should see is a new data frame object here, 21,551 rows, 3 variables. Okay, so if I do view on that command, should get our new data frame here, and what we're getting is only the 3 columns we asked for. We cannot see cut anymore because we've previously filtered on it. We know that these, how many have we got here? What is it? It's 21,551. These are all have a cut of, what did we ask for? Ideal. Okay. So that's a very simple introduction to the pipe operator. It's really useful, and we use the pipe to sort of intuitively tidy our data, and then it becomes even more useful when we start to plot, because we can use ggplot as well, which is the grammar of graphics. It follows a similar format where we kind of specify an aesthetic and then a mapping and things like that. So yeah, useful to know the pipe operator. All I've done in this video is use that select and filter function that I talked about in the previous video. What I'll do in the forthcoming videos is talk about other functions that we can use. Like in the next video, I think I'm going to cover arrange, which is another function that helps you change the order of your data, the rows in your data, essentially. And there's lots more than that as well. And you can use all those types of functions with the pipe operator. So it's got a lot of versatility. I've just focused on select and filter here because those are the only 2 we've covered so far in this video series. Okay, I hope this was useful. Thank you for watching and listening, and I will speak to you soon.